What will you do if the man who promised to protect your heart becomes the reason it bleeds the most? Several years ago, Leah had just closed from work at the hospital where she worked as a nurse. Her car refused to start. The rain poured heavily and her phone battery had died. She stood helplessly under the hospital gate canopy when a car pulled up beside her. "Need a ride?" a deep voice asked from inside. "No, thank you," she replied politely, but the man insisted, gently lowering his window so she could see his face. "You are drenched already. I can drop you, at least halfway. I promise I am not a bad person." There was something calm about his tone, and so, against her better judgment, she accepted. That was Maurice, confident, neat and effortlessly charming. He drove her home, cracked light jokes about the weather, and even offered his jacket when he noticed she was cold. From that day, things moved quickly. Maurice owned a printing press that was doing quite well. He seemed God-fearing, respectful, and always intentional about her. He met her parents within 3 months, helped pay part of her younger brother's tuition, and made her feel seen, something Leah had never truly experienced. For years, she had dated men who left her second-guessing her words, but Maurice was different. He went straight to the point. "Leah," he would say, holding her hand across the table, "I don't just want to date you, I want to build a home with you." His words melted her heart, but due to her past experiences, she didn't want to rush, so they dated for some years. One evening, while they were walking by the beach, Maurice suddenly knelt down. "Leah," he began, his eyes soft, "you have been my peace, my laughter, and my second chance at love. I know I'm not perfect, but I can promise you one thing. I will never stop choosing you." He opened a small box. Inside was a silver ring glistering under the sunset. "Will you marry me?" "Yes," she said, with tears filling her eyes. "Yes, Maurice, I will marry you." He slipped the ring on her finger and the crowd around them clapped. From that day, everything was wedding talk. Venues, colors, dresses, and invitations. Maurice handled most of the bills, insisting, "Saying yes is enough, my love. I just want to give you the wedding that you deserve." Leah's heart swelled with gratitude. She often told herself, "God really gave me a good man. I just pray I never disappoint him." The wedding preparations became intense. Family introductions, bridal showers, dress fittings, and everything seemed like a dream unfolding beautifully. The night before the wedding, everything felt perfect, at least to Leah. She and her girls had checked into the Haven Suites, a luxurious hotel close to the church venue. The atmosphere in the suites was full of excitement, music and laughter. Dresses were hung, champagne bottles were chilling in ice buckets, and the girls were teasing Leah about the wifey life awaiting her. "Tomorrow, you will officially stop being Mrs. Leah and become Mrs. Leah Maurice," Tina, her cheap bridesmaid, squealed, raising her glass. Leah smiled shyly. "I still can't believe it's happening. Maurice is everything I prayed for." Tina chuckled. "You better stop before you make us cry." Her phone rang almost immediately. It was Maurice. "Hello, my husband-to-be," she said, giggling. Maurice's voice was warm and calm, the same tone that had always made her feel safe. "My wife," he said over the phone. "I can't wait for tomorrow to come. I am the happiest man alive. I just called to say thank you for agreeing to do this life with me." Leah smiled. "You deserve this happiness, my Maurice. Thank you too for loving me so genuinely." He chuckled. "You really don't know how much I love you." If only she knew how false that statement was. As she dropped the call, she whispered, "Oh, my forever starts tomorrow." Her guests clapped playfully. They talked for a while, and and they all retired to their rooms, leaving just her and her chief bridesmaid Tina. As she lay on her bed that night, she whispered a quiet prayer. Lord, I have waited for this love all my life. Please, let tomorrow mark the beginning of joy that never ends. But God in His mercy had other plans. Plans not to embarrass her but to expose what was hidden. Meanwhile, across town, Maurice's bachelor's eve was in full swing at the Lounge 45 bar. His groomsmen had insisted. One last night of freedom, bro. Maurice had tried to resist. Guys, tomorrow is the wedding. I can't show up looking like a handover bridegroom. But I teased him until he gave in. Fine, he said, laughing. One drink, then I'm out. They got to the lounge and someone ordered expensive drinks. Then, like an uninvited ghost from the past, Clarice walked in. Maurice froze. She looked breathtaking, confident, well-dressed, and smiling like she knew she still had power over him. Wow, one of his friends muttered. Your hair still looks like trouble. Clarice walked straight up to Maurice, her perfume intoxicating and her smile deliberate. Long time, Maurice, she said. Congratulations, I heard you are tying the knots tomorrow. Maurice laughed awkwardly. Yeah, thank you, but I didn't expect to see you here. Oh, please, she said, touching his shoulder lightly. We are adults. I just came to say hi. No drama. But drama was exactly what followed. As the night went on, the drinks flowed freely. Maurice laughed more than usual. Clarice sat beside him, bringing up old memories, reminding him of things he thought he had forgotten. Do you still remember our trip to Lagos Island? You said no one understands you like I did. Maurice smiled faintly. Yeah, but that was a long time ago. A hand brushed his arm. The touch lingered. One wrong look, one reckless drink, and logic began to fade. When the others went to the dance floor, Clarice leaned closer and whispered, Can we just talk somewhere quiet? It was supposed to be a talk, but minutes later, they were in a private room upstairs, and by the time he realized what was happening, it was already too late. He had betrayed Leah, the woman he was supposed to marry, in less than 12 hours. When they were done, he slept, and Clarice sat at the edge of the bed watching him sleep with anger burning in her eyes. Maurice had left her without closure, and now she wanted revenge. Quietly, she reached for her phone. Click! One photo, then another, and then she took a very suspecting and repositioned with him, then took a short video. Later, she sent them to her best friend, adding the message, He's still mine, even on his wedding eve. But the friend, disgusted, forwarded everything to Leah. Back at the Harvest Suites, Leah was doing her nails when her phone buzzed. Tina handed it to her. Maybe Maurice again, she teased. Leah smiled, wiped her hands and opened the message. At first, she didn't understand what she was saying. She zoomed in and then her world collapsed. The video played and her hands began to shake. No, this can't be real, she whispered. Tina rushed over. What is it? Leah turned the phone slowly. Tina gasped. What? Leah dropped the phone on the bed, tears already streaming down her face. She clutched her stomach like the pain was physical. He slept with her last night, the night before our wedding? She screamed, then fell to her knees. Why? Why would he do this to me? Tina heard her, trying to keep her calm. Leah, please, calm down first. But Leah sobbed uncontrollably. The room was filled with the sound of heartbreak, raw, heavy and unrestrained. After a while, she wiped her tears, her face cold and pale. No, she said quietly. I won't let him get away with this. Tina became confused. What do you mean? Leah's voice trembled, but her eyes hardened. I will make sure the whole world knows who he really is. Tina frowned. Leah, please don't do anything stupid. Are you sure about this? Yes, she replied. If he wants a show, then I will give him a good one. But this time, I will be the one writing the scripts. They got to work immediately, editing the photos and video into a slideshow. Tears rolled down Leah's cheeks as they did, but her resolve didn't waver. At 2 a.m., when they were done, she whispered, God, thank you for exposing this, and thank you for not allowing me to become a prisoner of lies. Tina, out of concern, asked, Are you okay? Leah nodded faintly. Not yet, but I will be fine. And with that, she saved the presentation, closed the laptop, and whispered to herself, Tomorrow, the truth walks down the aisle. Morning came, but to Leah, it felt like night had never ended. She hadn't slept, not even for a second. Her pillow was still damp from tears that refused to stop. It should have been the most beautiful morning of her life, the kind of morning every woman dreams of. But now, the sight of daylight only mocked her. The world outside was peaceful, but inside her heart there was a storm. Tina stayed on the couch, rubbing her eyes. You didn't sleep, she muttered. Leah turned slowly, her voice hollow. How could I? Tina got up and walked over, placing a hand on her shoulder. Leah, maybe we should cancel the wedding quietly. You don't have to. Leah interrupted her. No, this wedding must hold. Tina tried to convince her. Leah, this is your life and not a movie. Are you sure you can handle what you are about to do? Leah took a deep breath. I am not doing it for revenge, Tina. I am doing it for truth. If I walk away silently, he will marry someone else and keep lying. By 8 a.m., the hotel room was buzzing with laughter. They were all ready. To the others, Leah looked radiant. None of them knew, apart from Tina, what was going on. Wow! Bride of the year, one of the guests said cheerfully. Leah smiled faintly. Thank you. Tina stayed close, her eyes filled with concern. Soon, Morris called. Tina handed the phone to her carefully, as if it might explode. Leah hesitated for a second before answering. Hello? Morris' voice was full of excitement. My love, how is my beautiful bride doing? I have been up since 6 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I can't believe today is finally here. Leah's jaw tightened, but her voice stayed calm. Yes, Morris, today is finally here. He laughed nervously. I know you are nervous, but don't worry, everything is set. See you soon, my heartbeat, he said sweetly. See you soon, Leah replied and hung up. For a moment, she stared at the phone, her face unreadable. Then she whispered, May God give me strength not to slap this man in the presence of the guests. Tina covered her mouth to stop from laughing and crying at the same time. You are a strong woman, Leah. Honestly. At the church, violins played in the background and guests filled every seat, whispering about how perfect the couple looked together. Morris was seated, smiling proudly, adjusting his tie. He looked like a lovely groom. No trace of guilt and no shadow of remorse. When Leah arrived, the crowd gasped. Her gown shimmered and her veil flowed like a cloud. She looked ethereal, like peace itself, but only she and Tina knew it wasn't peace, it was fire under control. As she walked down the aisle, Leah could feel the eyes of everyone fixed on her. She looked at Morris, the man who had held her heart and crushed it with betrayal, and for a brief second her steps faltered, but she steadied herself. Her father, unaware of anything, whispered proudly, You made the right choice, my daughter. This man truly loves you. Leah swallowed hard. If only you knew, Papa. The ceremony began beautifully. The pastor spoke about love, forgiveness, and the sacredness of vows. Leah listened, her heart beating very fast. Every word about honor and fidelity stabbed deeper. When it was time for the vows, Morris smiled tenderly. He pulled out his small notes and began to speak in a voice full of emotion, the kind that could melt hearts. Leah, you are my answered prayer, my home and my peace. You have taught me patience, sacrifice, and the meaning of love. I promise before God and His witnesses that I will love you endlessly, protect you fiercely, and never let you feel alone. I will stand by you in sickness and in health, in laughter and in tears, till death do us part. People sniffled. Even the pastor smiled approvingly, but Leah wasn't moved. She only smiled faintly, but inside she thought, this one is the devil we have been binding during midnight prayers. Then the pastor turned to her. It's your turn, Leah. She took the microphone as her eyes stayed locked on Morris. My dear Morris, she began softly, you have changed my view about men. You are really good at what you do. The crowd chuckled. Morris smiled proudly. Leah continued. I feel so emotional right now and I am sincerely lost for words. So please, permit me to show you my heart from the screen. Morris nodded, still smiling. Of course, baby. Leah gave a small nod towards Tina and she walked briskly to the media stand. Within seconds, the projector came alive. The first slide appeared. It read, the night before the wedding. The whole went silent as everyone anticipated the next thing. Then, it was a photo of Morris and Clarice in bed, together with the video she had made. Morris froze. His mother covered her face in shame. The pastor's Bible slipped from his hand. Leah held the mic and said calmly, with these few points of mine, I want to thank God for saving me from STDs. She looked at Morris, tears now glistering in her eyes, but her voice steady. You stood before God and these mighty lovely people without shame after what you did. No iota of shame and remorse. For heaven's sake, is your conscience dead? You thought you would deceive me forever, but God loves me too much to let me fall into your trap. She turned to the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, this wedding will not hold. But please, the food must not waste. Let's all go to the reception venue and celebrate. The silence that followed Leah's announcement was deafening. For a moment, it felt like the whole world had frozen. No sound and no movement, only eyes wide with disbelief. Then slowly the whispers began. Oh my God, this is just too much for her. She's only trying to act strong. Mary's face turned pale. He looked towards the media stand as though staring could undo what had already been done. Turn that off, he shouted, his voice breaking. I said, turn it off. Leah handed the microphone to the pastor and quietly walked down the steps of the altar, her veil trailing behind her like victory itself. Morris tried to speak. Leah, please, I can explain. Explain what? She asked sharply, her voice echoing through the church. Explain how you fell into bed with your ex the night before our wedding, or how you looked me in the eye this morning and told me you love me? No, Morris, save your breath for the next victim. Morris' mother, unable to bear the humiliation, stood up. Let's go, she backed at her family. Let's go before people start taking pictures. Morris reached out to Leah, desperation written all over his face. Leah, please. It was a mistake. I was drunk. It meant nothing. Leah turned slowly, her expression unreadable. It meant nothing to you, but it means everything to me because I gave you my trust and you buried it in betrayal. If you had told me about the bachelor's eve, I would have been there with you." Her voice broke slightly, but she continued, stronger now. "I would rather walk away in pain than stay in shame. You broke me, Morris, but you will not destroy me." She turned to the congregation and said again, "Everybody, please, let's not waste the food. We have all dressed beautifully and it would be unfair to waste all that joy. It is no longer a wedding celebration. It is now a Thanksgiving service because I have just been saved from marrying a man who was never mine." The church broke into murmurs. Some people started clapping out of shock and admiration. Others simply shook their heads, whispering about the courage they had just witnessed. One of the elderly deacons leaned toward his wife and said, "That girl is bold. In my 40 years of ministry, I have never seen a bride cancel a wedding like that at the altar." The woman beside him replied quietly, "It is better to cancel a wedding than to cry in a marriage." Outside, Leah walked to her car surrounded by a few supportive friends. Tina held her arm, her eyes filled with both pride and pity. "Are you okay?" she asked. Leah nodded. "I am very okay, thank you." Morris still stood at the altar with his shoulders slumped, staring blankly at the floor. His best man stood beside him awkwardly, not knowing what to say. Before Leah even reached the reception venue, clips from the church were everywhere on social media. Some mocked, others praised her courage, but Leah didn't care. For once in her life, people's opinion didn't matter. When she arrived at the reception venue, she removed her veil and took a deep breath. Music played. Guests were already gathered, so Leah stood on the stage, looked at everyone and said respectfully, "Good afternoon, everyone. First, thank you for coming. I know today's event shocked many of you. It shocked me as well. A few people laughed, but I realized that sometimes God saves you in public because He knows if He did it privately, you will still go back. So today is not a day of shame, it is a day of thanksgiving." Murmurs of agreements rippled through the crowd. This hall was paid for. The caterers had cooked, the DJ had been paid, so why waste it? Laughter broke out now, louder this time. "So please, ladies and gentlemen," Leah continued, smiling genuinely now, "I invite all of you to eat, drink and dance." The DJ quickly switched songs. People danced, and as they were dancing, they were packing food because things like this happens once in 100 years. Morris was home now. His friends had disappeared, leaving him alone to face the consequences of his action. He had tried to call Leah again, but she had blocked him on every platform. He thought of Clarice, his ex who had started the fire, and how she had proudly posted a creepy status online. If you don't respect your past, it will revisit you. He felt sick. The humiliation and the shame was just too much. He wanted to drive away, to hide, or even to undo it all, but it was too late. Leah's calm destruction of his image had cut deeper than any slap could have. Back at the hall, Tina joined Leah at the table, handing her a glass of juice. Tina smiled. "Do you even realize that the whole media space is rooting for you right now?" Leah exhaled. "I didn't do it to trend, Tina. I just couldn't marry a lie." Tina nodded. "Still, you gave every woman courage, and that's something." Leah looked around. She saw people laughing, eating, and the sound of joy where there should have been sorrow. "Funny," she said quietly, "how the same event that was supposed to break me became my freedom party." Later that evening, after the whole shaggering, the adrenaline was gone now, replaced by stillness. She touched her ring finger. 3 years, she whispered. 3 years of love, promises and lies. It is not right. I just hope that one day this pain will make sense and I will look back and thank God I walked away. She tried to stay strong for a moment, then it hit her. There was no honeymoon, and so she began to cry. The next day, her parents came to check up on her. Her mother's eyes were red from crying. Her father, who had barely spoken since the incident, cleared his throat awkwardly. My daughter, he said gently, you handled yourself with grace, but how are you truly? Leah forced a smile. I am not fine, Daddy, but what can I do? Her mother sniffed, wiping her tears. That boy really disgraced us. How could he do that to you and to all of us? Leah reached out. Mommy, please don't cry. If God didn't expose him, I would be crying every night in his house. So I think this is better. That's true, my daughter. But we have come to take you home because staying here all by yourself will be very dangerous. Leah had no option than to follow. Back at her parents' house, peace didn't come easily. Everywhere she turned, social media, even neighborhood gossip, her name was there. Days turned into weeks and slowly Leah began to rebuild her routine. She returned to the hospital. Her colleagues started treating her with respect. No one dared mention the incident, but everyone looked at her differently, like a woman who had walked through fire and in the smell of smoke. Meanwhile, Louis' world was collapsing in slow motion. After the incident, several of his business partners pulled out of deals, afraid of bad publicity. His mother refused to speak to him. His friends distanced themselves, unwilling to be associated with the man who got exposed at the altar. Clarice, his ex, had initially felt powerful until her own reputation started to crumble as well. When people discovered she was the woman in the video, the internet turned on her. Her own fiance, yes, she had one, broke off their engagements. Morris tried reaching to Leah through mutual friends, sending apology messages that weren't answered. One night, he wrote her a long email. Leah, I know you will never forgive me and I don't blame you. I deserve the shame I'm living in. I wake up every day hearing the words you said at the altar. God does not reveal to destroy. He reveals to deliver. You were right. Maybe this is God's way of humbling me. I just hope that one day you will heal completely and maybe give us a second chance. Leah read the message in silence. She didn't reply. She simply said, I have forgiven you now, Oga, but I beg, pack one side. 2 months later, she began to feel lighter. She helped herself by reading and watching people share their recovery journey about being betrayed. One evening, after listening to a younger woman cry about being cheated on, Leah said quietly, pain doesn't end your life, it just changes the direction it was going. By the 3rd month, the noise died down. The internet moved on to the available scandals. Leah could walk down the street again without whispers following her. 1 year later, life surprised her at the hospital. A visiting cardiologist named Dr. Samuel Adeyemi struck up a conversation about medical ethics that turned into laughter over lunch. From play, they entered clap, and from clap, they entered dance. You should understand what that means figuratively. One thing I teased her about it. Leah said, I am not ready for love. Tina replied, they play, my dear. And truly, she was indeed playing, because not long after, she got hitched with Dr. Samuel and enjoyed marital bliss. Hey, African Tales by Karma Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. Before I leave today, kindly permit me to say this. Please, before you rush to say I do, make sure you are not saying it to I deceive. Love is not proven by words alone, it is proven by discipline. If you ever discover betrayal before marriage, don't cover it up with wedding decorations. Cancel it and let God decorate your peace instead. Remember that being single and peaceful is far better than being married and miserable. So let me ask you, if you were in Leah's shoes, would you have exposed Morris at the altar or walked away quietly? And do you think Leah went too far by showing the video in church? Kindly drop your answers and thoughts about the story in the comments. And please, if you enjoyed the story, don't just smile and scroll. Hit that like button. And then, if you have not subscribed to this channel, punch on that subscribe button like you are slapping every liar out of your life. And until I bring the next interesting story your way, it is a goodbye from here, and God bless you.